In this video, we'll create a basic floor for our player to move around on. This will allow the implementation of some basic FPS mechanics without building the full level, which we'll end up doing in a later video. We'll begin by creating a cube. We'll go to the Game Object menu and choose 3D Object, Cube. This adds a cube to the scene. We'll give it a name to keep track of it. We'll change its name from Cube to Floor. Next, we'll change its dimensions to make it more floor-like. I'll go to the Rect tool by clicking on this button here, or by pressing the T key. Next, while viewing it from above, I can stretch out its handles and create a floor-like size. I'll zoom out a bit. There we are. I'll also ensure that it's in the center of the level by changing its position to 0, 0, 0. The floor should be a light grey color to make things that are standing on the floor stand out better. So I'll make a new material and assign that. I'll first create the material by going to the Assets menu and choosing Create Material. I'll name the new material Floor. Next, I'll change the albedo color from white to a light grey. Around this should be nice. Next, I'll make the floor object use this new floor material. There are two ways that I can do this. One way is to drag the floor material directly onto the object, dragging and dropping like so. Notice how it changes color slightly. The other way is to go to the floor object itself, find the mesh renderer, and open the materials list. Here, we can drag the material directly into its material slot, like so. Both have the same effect. To verify that our floor is working, we'll add another cube that has physical properties. We'll go Game Object, 3D Object, Cube. I'll press the F key to zoom in and just rotate. This cube is in the middle of the floor, so I'm going to go to the Move tool. I could also have pressed the W key and just drag it upwards a bit. Notice how the shadow indicates that it's above the floor. I'm going to name this cube Box because it is a box, and I'll add some physical properties to it. In order to function properly in the scene, that is, we want it to fall down and hit the floor, it needs to have both a collider and a rigid body. It already has a collider, so we just need to add the rigid body. We'll click on Add Component. We'll type rigid body. It's important to note that we have to choose rigid body and not rigid body 2D. Rigid body is designed for 3D movement, and rigid body 2D is for 2D movement. Rigid bodies and rigid body 2D objects never interact with each other. That's why it's important to make sure you always use the type of rigid body that's appropriate for your game. We're now all done, and we can see the results of our work. We'll click on the play button, and we can see the box fall to the floor. With this done, we now have our basic environment in which we can construct our first-person gameplay.